Are you there? Hello, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yes, we can hear you, Michael. This is Commissioner Walker. Commissioner Reed is here as well. Commissioner Christensen is out of town, so will not be attending this hearing. And first, we'd like to hear what you have to say, and then we'll hear from the assessor and the treasurer, and then if there's any questions, we'll deal with those. So with that, I would call this hearing to order and see what you have to present us with, Michael.
Yes. I was born in Blackfoot, grew up there in Blackfoot, and then started working at the INEL at that time. And since then, I had moved to Idaho Falls, purchased this home at 4208 Willow Canyon with the intent to occupy the home as my primary residence. And then due to economic conditions, I had to take contract work. And so what that involved for me was extended periods of time where I would need to travel for my contract work out of state. So what I have done in order to maintain the home as my property is when I had extended contracts where I would need to leave, I've had periods where I've occupied the home and then had to rent the home. So I had spoken with the different office, two different offices, treasurer and assessor's office. They had explained to me some of the situations, rules. So what I'm requesting is that the homeowner's exemption be allowed, as I do stay at the property. And the last time that I was there was from July through when I've rented out the home at November for a few months so that I can do some of my contract work. Apparently they had sent me a letter which I did not receive prior to this hearing to request some more information. And then I discussed with, I think, Laci regarding they had done an investigation where they looked at the home and saw that it was rented. And I do rent it out for periods of time where I'm not able to be there. So I guess to just be, that's the kind of the scenario that I'm occupying the property. So my request is that the homeowner's exemption be granted, and at the very minimum, there's been I think the penalty was actually fairly small, but there was an interest charge that was assessed, and I'm asking that be removed if it's found that I do need to pay any additional tax, that at the very minimum that the interest and penalties be removed, as it was and is my intent to continue occupying the property as much as I am able to.
Okay.
And I think.
Does anyone have questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So this is Commissioner Reed. When was the last time you lived in that house? You mentioned July to November. What year was that?
2022.
Okay, we've got some information here before us that it's been rented for the last 2 years. Is there a renter currently in it now?
I have a renter in there that just moved in during November, so they were not there just prior to that.
And what year did you buy the home?
I believe 2018.
Okay, and how long did you live there?
About, let's see, approximately, I think it was about 7 months before you mean, how long did I live there before I went on a?
Yeah, after you bought the home, how long did you live there?
Well, it was approximately 7 months.
Okay. I'm assuming that, how did you become aware that this was a problem? You called the assessor? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you knew that they had sent you a certified letter?
I did not receive the certified letter, but I did ultimately get a card that said that they had sent it, and so that's why I called.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, let's hear from the assessor's office then.
Okay, this is Laci.
Can you hear her okay?
It's a little bit quiet. I definitely can hear her, but if you can speak up a little bit, that would be
Sure.
beneficial.
Slide it down there.
So we became aware of the situation, excuse me, earlier this year, when we received a homeowner exemption from the person that was renting. They had moved out into their own home. When we were checking to make sure that we didn't need to remove one exemption to put on their new one for their new home, we did find that they actually were not the owner of the home that they had currently just moved out of. At that time, I called the homeowner to make sure, the new homeowner, to make sure that we had the addresses correct. And I did proceed to ask him at that time how long he had been in that residence. And he had indicated to me that he had rented for the last 2 years. Which also I have emails from the city of Ammon stating that he had been receiving the utility bills during that time that he indicated that he was renting. So we do have that there. I did a little bit of a deeper dive on this one, just making sure that I had all the facts together. And previous to the renter that had just moved out, there was another renter that was in there that was receiving the utility bills at that time as well. And so we did find that it did go back to 2019 that the home had been being rented out and has been rented out the whole entire time. We do have a homeowner exemption application here from when you signed for it, stating that you were living there, but the dates for the renter and you living there overlap. And so we did find that you were receiving the exemption when indeed you did not qualify for it. I did send multiple letters letting you know that we just needed to hear from you, find out what was going on. The letters had gone unanswered until I had spoke with you just recently once the certified letter made its way back to me. So I do have the paperwork in front of me for what we had found when we dived just a little bit deeper, and we're waiting for your response so that we could try to clear the matter up quickly.
Okay, do you have any, sorry. Do you have any questions for the assessor's office? Is that timeline accurate in your mind?
There weren't, I don't think there were exact dates, but it sounds, the only question that I guess I'd have is, I think that it's consistent with what I've said, which is that I had occupied and then rented and then occupied and rented again. So I guess it sounds consistent with what I've said, so.
It sounded a little different to me, this Commissioner Reed. It sounded like once you started renting it, after you had lived there initially, that the majority of the time a renter was in there, based on what the renters had said in the power bills to Ammon. Is that accurate?
I guess majority means more than half, so when my contract work goes for, I have several months of extended time, then I do rent it out, so let's see, majority meaning more than half. I guess that's a correct statement.
Okay, this is Commissioner Walker again. Looking at the utility information, it appears that there was a tenant in the property, residing at the property from 2018 to May of 2020, and then another change of renters from 2020 in May 15th. There was only 10 days between the utility change on the tenants. Is that correct, please?
It is, yes.
So she said yes, in case you couldn't hear her. And the law requires that, yes, majority means 6 months and a day, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
We have a number of snowbirds and sunbirds here that go south for warm or north for cold, that are pretty particular about being back the day before their 6 months, so that they're occupying, and occupancy is consistent with state law. Do you have any other information that you might think is helpful to us, Michael?
Just that the period of time, sometimes the tenants don't remove the utility out of their name immediately, so there was a bigger gap than what's stated, but I am in agreement that I did rent the property. I'm not trying to deny that, so yeah, that's all.
Okay, any other comments?
I just think the big picture that we need to look at is that when you occupy to receive this benefit for the reduced property taxes, you have to occupy for at least 6 months and a day. And no time consistent during the year has it been shown where that has been completed, which has led us to figure in the years from 2019 through 2022, because you have not shown that you have consistently occupied the parcel as your primary residence during that time. We actually have facts to the contrary, so that's what we look at.
this is Commissioner Walker. So as I understand it, what Lisa's saying is that for each year between 2018 when you purchased the property and 2022, each year you would have to live for 6 months and a day, and that needs to be consecutive time. It can't be broken up over a month here and 2 months there. That's correct according to the code, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
So it does not it does not allow for 6 months over. It has to be continuous 6 months.
It does have to be consistent, yes.
Well, consistent is different than continuous, right?
Well, you can't come in for a month in, let's say, January, and then rent it out for the majority of the time between then and June and come back for another month. It has to be considered your primary residence. And also, I should probably note that while you are considering this your primary residence, this has to be where you also file your taxes from, where your driver's license is registered to, where you are a registered voter. All of these things play into one location as being your primary residence, which I was not able to find any of that here within Bonneville County or the state of Idaho. I had reached out just to double check and make sure, and we were not able to find any of those things being done and listed to that address during this 4-year time.
So this is Commissioner Reed. I had a question, I guess, for the treasurer or the assessors. I understand that lien has been placed on this property. Is that correct?
An intent to lien has been filed,
An
yes.
intent to
So
lien.
it's,
And where the taxes are due, clear back to 19, Mr. Treasurer.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, 2019. Will that immediately go into tax default then if it's not paid, or because it's the 3 years?
Yeah, the 3 years. But we do have payments, so I don't know if it would be the 3-year delinquency. We would probably put it on the next year's taxes.
Okay.
So because taxes haven't paid, they're not paid. So we would take this figure and then add it on to the 2023 taxes,
Okay.
if it isn't paid.
And if he's found that back tax is due, you would continue interest and penalty then
Well,
until it is paid for those past years?
we'd probably take this information and just add it on as is.
Okay.
So it'd be part of the 2023 taxes.
okay, any other questions or comments, information?
No.
All right, well, with that, the chair would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I find that, this Commissioner Reed, I find that the assessor was accurate in all of their findings, and that the owner's exemption was on there incorrectly. Also find that it seems that that there was some attempt made to be able to leave it on, knowing that they were not the primary occupant of the home. Therefore, I would move that we uphold the assessor, and that we would ask the treasurer to continue to levy and collect for full tax back to 2019.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed, and I would second that motion. I find no fault with the assessor's office. And again, I'm grateful for the degree to which you do your research. So
So this is Michael. So is the interest waived for period if I pay those tax?
No,
Not sure what.
the intent of my motion would be to for the penalty and interest to remain intact. That would be consistent how we've treated all taxpayers, unless there has been an error on the county's part, and I don't see any error. So my motion would include leaving the interest and penalties on.
And as I understand it, that would be placed on the next tax year, I think it's 2023, as an additional, I'm not sure what the word is, but additional value that's added to that. And if then paid as requested, there's no additional fees, penalties, interest. Is that correct?
We'll let the treasurer answer that question.
I'll have to do further research, but that's my understanding. I can get back with the board on that and get back with you. That's my understanding.
Sorry, get back with who?
I'd have to find out myself on that for sure. I haven't been directly
Get
involved.
back with me, or?
Yeah, you on the board.
So how would I find that out?
I'll call my deputy that's typically involved, that she's tied up right now. So she's the one that typically gets involved with these.
And
If you
then
give me a moment, then I can, tell you.
The treasurer's checking right now to see if he can,
We should be able to have that answer for you today, but I guess I'd call for a question on my motion.
okay. I recognize Mr. Reed for his question on his motion.
So just
An
to
update,
vote
we
on
just
it.
put them on the 2023 taxes.
All in favor, motion
Yeah,
stated?
so it
Aye.
wouldn't accumulate
Aye.
interest after that. It'd just be as of a particular date. Okay. Yeah, but the ones that have been interest charges as of,
The interest continues to accrue.
as of a particular date.
Yeah, you're fine, Mr. Treasurer.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks. All right, thanks for your patience. Yeah, that's correct. So the date of the letter, the statement here, November 16th, the interest would remain the same, and then it would just get put on the 2023 taxes and become a part of the 2023 taxes.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you, Michael.
All right. Thank you for your time.
You'll send him a letter.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've
No,
done
it's all right.
this.